Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I'm the Assistant City Administrator, and I'd like to call this meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. Board members present to my left is Roy Akery, the Fire Chief, and to his left is Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works, and Christiana Craddock is the Executive Assistant to the City Administrator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, variance request V15047, allow reduction of front setback from 35 feet to 26 feet at 3062 Dunn Street, 0.31 acres, land lot 523, 3062 Dunn Street. James Hunt is the applicant. Good morning. Can you come up to the podium? Yes. And for the record, can you state your name and tell us about your variance request?
My name is Jay Waters. I'm actually the architect for and representative for James Hunt for that property.
All right. Mr. Hunt isn't here today?
Not today.
Okay.
He wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
He is looking to get a reduction in the front setback from 35 feet to 26 feet. The house was built in 1924. It's an R4 zone.
Pull it up.
Yeah. And currently it has a 35-foot setback. We're looking to get it at 26 feet, 10 and a half inches is what we're looking for. Due to the sort of extremes, it was built in 1924, so it was actually not set. It had no standards for the setbacks at that time, so it's well within the front setback already. It's set at the 24-foot mark, so we're pushing basically the new addition, which will be 2 bedrooms. It's for a growing family. Pushing that back an extra 2 feet. We're not impacting the right side of that setback itself. It's not impacting any trees or anything of that sort, and we at this time don't have any concerns from the neighbors. To allow that to happen here in a moment if there are any. But no impact on the trees. So we had the rear yard is actually a green space, so we thought to keep that open and allow to build that on the right side, which is a mulch area. At that time, we thought that was the best for not only construction costs, but overall site. But I'll leave that up to you guys if you have any questions.
Any questions for the? Okay, all right. We'll have our staff make comments, please. Bob Thorne with Community Development.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Variance 15047 is a request to allow reduction of the front setback from 35 to 26 feet at 3062 Dunn Street, a 0.31 acre site. The subject parcel is located on the west side of Dunn Street. All adjoining parcels to the north, east, and south are zoned R15 and occupied by single-family detached residences. The property to the west does not adjoin the particular property. However, it's zoned limited commercial and is occupied by retail business and access to Concord Road and Hunter Street. The subject property is 0.31 feet. And was built in 1924. The existing single-family residence is 1,392 square feet. The front of the existing home and covered porch lies within and encompasses the majority of the front yard setback encroachment. The proposed renovation includes an addition which will add 734 square feet and a 238 square foot covered deck patio on the rear. The total structure, deck, patio, and related impervious surface will total 2,770 square feet when complete. Total impervious lot coverage after the planned renovation is 20% and well below the 35% maximum. The applicant is requesting the variance to reduce the front setback to allow construction for this proposed addition. The addition will lie within an existing landscaped area without disturbing critical root zones of mature trees on subject property and boundary trees of adjacent or adjoining properties. The reduction of the front setback to 26 feet will not be out of character with the established development pattern within the area. Additionally, the front setback reduction primarily allows the existing structure and the new addition to continue to align with Dunn Street. Based on the proposed site plan, when complete, the distance from the right-of-way to the vertical face of the renovated home will be approximately 26 feet, 10.5 inches. The applicant has considered adjoining property owners to minimize the impact of the variance needed. However, the applicant does not appear to have analyzed stormwater runoff patterns that may occur following the renovation. To mitigate the impact of the proposed renovation to the adjoining properties, community development recommends that the gutters and downspouts direct stormwater consistently with current site drainage patterns and away from adjoining properties. Community development has reviewed the request and determined that any hardship is not self-created. Built in 1924, a large portion of the existing structure lies within the front yard setback. Strict application of the ordinance would allow the applicant to renovate their home. However, it does not create extreme hardships. There are recommended approval. Staff recommends approval of the requested variance with the following conditions. Approval of the requested variance shall be a condition upon the substantial compliance of the site plan submitted with the variance application. Gutters and downspouts shall be positioned such that stormwater runoff is directed into the subject property without impacting adjacent properties.
Any questions for the staff?
So just, Bob, for the record, this property as it sits now falls into a category of existing non-compliant, right, because of its age?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Where's the driveway to this house?
Pardon?
The driveway to this house?
The driveway is to the is off of the opposite street. Let me get to the site plan.
This is the gravel area on the left side off of 100th Street. Western driveway.
It's off Hunter Street. Right?
Oh, so that
That's correct.
thing that says gravel's the driveway? Oh.
Any other questions?
Not for the staff.
Okay. All right.
I had one more question for the applicant's representative.
State your name one more time.
Jay Waters.
Waters. Okay.
Mr. Waters, you just heard staff's report where they recommend approval with two conditions, and those conditions are that essentially you have to build it the way that you've requested to build it. Verbatim, it says approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted within the variance application. And then the second condition is that gutters and downspouts shall be positioned such that stormwater runoff is directed onto the subject property without impacting adjacent property. So are you familiar with these two? Do you see any issue in compliance with those?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Waters? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V15-047 to allow the reduction of front setback from 35 to 26 feet located at 3062 Dunn Street, 0.31 acre land lot 523 for applicant James Hunt.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V15047. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V15048. Request approval of an increase in impervious surface area from 48.2% to 48.4% at 2330 Cobb Parkway, Smyrna, Georgia, 13.9731 acres, land lots 778, 806, 807, 2330 Cobb Parkway, Smyrna, Georgia, Randy Pimpsler? Okay. And you are representing the apartment complex?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and for the record, state your name.
Randy Pimsler.
Okay, all right. And can you tell us about the variance request, please?
Certainly. Thank you very much. We are proposing to add a new structure on the property, approximately 1,200 square foot. It would be a two-story building. The upper level would allow for new leasing offices for the community. The lower level would provide for a new fitness center, again, for the community. We are proposing to place the building on a existing landscape area. It's accessible from parking on both levels and adjacent to the entry drive of the complex. We've read staff report and understand the two conditions, and we're glad to answer any questions.
At what capacity are you representing the owner?
I'm their architect. I'm sorry.
Do you have a civil engineer involved with the project?
We have not been authorized to move forward at this point, pending the outcome of this hearing, but we will have a civil engineer on the team when we move forward.
Well, I know that one real question, and I'll stop short of saying an issue with this application, but really a question with this application is, given the current use of the property and adjacent developments that abut this development, the question in our mind really is current infrastructure underground, with regard to location, specifically existing sewer lines, water lines, those types of things. So that's really kind of a question in our mind. If just to simplify it, if this were to be built, would it be? Certainly, we wouldn't want it built on top of any currently existing infrastructure. So I think that's where that question comes from with regard to the employment of civil engineer services, and whether or not, depending on the outcome of that type of a survey, whether or not this would even be feasible.
Yes, I imagine you're making reference to the existing storm pipe that is in the proximate area.
Well, in addition to stormwater collection and management, with sewer water, in addition to that, which is separate from
Sanitary.
Yes.
Understood. Yeah, we understand that we will have to address utility-related concerns.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, well, at this time, we'll have the staff make comments.
Variance case 15, V15-048, increase impervious area from 48.2% to 48.4% at 2330 Cobb Parkway. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow the construction of a leasing office structure at 2330 Cobb Parkway. Cumberland Glen Apartments were developed prior to the RM15 zoning requirements. The maximum lot coverage for impervious surface area for RM15 is 35% based upon standards set forth in Section 801 of the zoning ordinance. The addition of the leasing office will increase the impervious surface area of the property from 48.2 to 48.4. The adjacent properties to the east is located in an unoccupied Cobb County retail commercial area, unincorporated, excuse me. Properties to the north are zoned general commercial and are occupied by office buildings. To the south is RM12 and occupied by multifamily residents, and west is zone R15 and occupied by single-family residences. The applicant is requesting to deviate from the maximum impervious surface lot coverage of 35% established by the RM12 district per section 801 of the zoning code. According to the Cobb County, Community Development considers the requested variance with not adversely affecting adjoining properties due to the minimal impervious surface coverage of 0.2% increase. The planned leasing office will create, the interior site location of the planned leasing office structure, and the screening provided by the existing vegetation cover at the rear of the property as well. At the time of this report, Community Development has not received any communication opposition to the variance request. Therefore, Community Development recommends approval of the request variance with the following conditions. The previous space used as the leasing office should not be used as an apartment or living space of any type, and that the approval of the request variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the leasing office and substantial compliance of the site plan submitted with the variance application dated 11/19/2015.
What is their intent for the existing leasing office? What is the intent of the existing leasing office?
Where is the current existing office?
What are they going to do with the old one?
I'm not sure. What was your question? I don't
know what my question was. You have the previous space used as a leasing office shall not be used as an apartment or living space of any type. So what are they going to use it for?
Whatever, it could be storage, it could be whatever they want. We didn't want the increase of population on the property.
So let's ask the applicant.
Yes. Thanks, Mr. Pimsley.
Thank you. At this time, it hasn't been determined, but we know that there's a density issue, and the owners have been informed that they cannot use either of the spaces for living area. So I honestly don't know what the use will be, but they're clear that it cannot be used for additional residential units.
Yeah. You want to talk about that other condition?
No, I think we've talked about it.
Okay.
Any other questions for the staff? All right, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V15-048 to increase request approval of increase of impervious surface area from 48.2% to 48.4% at 2330 Cobb Parkway, 13.9731 acres, land lot 778, 806, 807, 2330 Cobb Parkway, with the following conditions. The previous space used as a leasing office should not be used as an apartment or living space of any type. Condition number 2, approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the leasing office in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application dated 11/19/2014. 2015. And condition number 3, that submittal of a civil site plan showing all existing underground utilities, indicating no conflicts and proper clearances.
Second motion.
Mr. Pimsley, are you, for the record, can you step to the podium? Are you in agreement with the 3 of those stipulations as stated?
Certainly.
Okay. It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V15048. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V15049, allow 21.7 feet encroachment into the 25-foot impervious surface area setback at 3387 Lee Street, Smyrna, Georgia, 0.48 acres, land lot 556. Jeffrey Timms is the applicant. Is he here? And good morning. For the record, can you please state your name and tell us about your variance request?
It's Jeff Teams.
Teams. Pardon me.
Yes, ma'am. It's really the couple, Lisa Walker and her husband Andrew. We're building a house for them. They wanted to save as many trees as possible, and the other houses on the street sit further forward. I guess they were built before, or sit further forward, and where we would have had to put it, we lost a lot of trees in the back. We're going to lose a lot of trees when we cut and fill. So it was more of a where can we put the house and save the greatest amount of trees, which is really what it comes down to, is just trying to save trees.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, at this time, we'll have a staff make comments. But you can stay right here in the front just in case we have other questions.
Variance 15-049, request for 21.7-foot encroachment into the 25-foot impervious surface area setback at 3387 Lee Street, Smyrna, Georgia. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow a 21.7-foot encroachment of the corner portion of a new single-family structure into the 25-foot impervious area stream buffer located at 3387 Lee Street. The impervious area stream buffer reduction will allow a 440 square foot front porch to extend 21.7 feet into the buffer. Existing site characteristics and the 25-foot impervious buffer limits the proposed structure from being repositioned within the lot with full building envelope. The applicant has taken measures to mitigate many of the issues associated with the stream buffer and the site conditions, the natural site conditions. One, they've located the residence, the new structure, further to the front and aligned with the current streetscape location of the existing residences on the street. This also preserves and sustains the natural hardwood canopy trees that are located within the site. Two, they have, by moving it forward, they have limited or reduced the maximum cut fill conditions associated with the earthwork requirements for the new structure. This would also mitigate to some points erosion sedimentation control during construction, in other words, short and long-term impacts. Our findings are such that similar variances for impervious area stream buffer reductions have been approved within the city. At the time of this report, community development has not received any communication in opposition to the variance request. Therefore, community development recommends approval of the requested variance with the following conditions. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the substantial completion or compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application dated 11/18/2015. Surface water runoff generated by this development shall be contained within the site to protect existing natural drainage patterns and adjoining and downstream parcels. Water quality measures that mimic the functions of the impervious buffer shall be designed, constructed, and maintained in accordance with the Georgia Blue Book for at least that portion of the of the proposed impervious area within the buffer. An approved erosion and sedimentation control plan is required for the project prior to any land disturbance activities. 5, the site area within the 25-foot impervious area stream buffer disturbed during construction activity shall be restored with the appropriate native vegetation. And 6, all plans are submitted are subject to the review and approval of the city engineer.
And Bob, just for the record, I think we've got one more also, and that was that the city engineer shall approve final design of any water quality plan best management practice measure prior to issuance of a building permit.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So there's actually 7. Yeah. Just for clarification of the record. Yeah.
Okay.
Just skip that one.
They were actually combined.
Wrong one?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's actually number 2 on our screen.
Well, yeah.
What?
I think we have, I'm looking at the issue sheet.
Yeah, me too.
The issue sheet has 7 conditions, and that same document
That's the 7.
located within,
Correct.
yeah, only has 6. But I just wanted, like I said, for the clarification of the record. And again, you know, the way this works is essentially that the state and the city and the feds, for that matter, want to protect any area as it encroaches and gets closer to any type of a stream, right? So the state, from the center of a stream, the state has a boundary on both sides of 25 feet. And then beyond that 25, the city of Smyrna has added an additional 25 to make that do not touch this area 50 feet on each side of the stream, right?
Correct.
And then in addition to that, from 50 feet, another 25 feet, the city of Smyrna has this impervious area that have regulatory things. It doesn't say that you can't build on it. Well, it doesn't say that you can't disturb it. But this is a separation, this outer 25 feet, which in total would be 75 feet from the center of any stream, is an area by which we regulate what happens on it, right? And there are acceptable conditions by which you could put some type of a structure within this impervious area, this outer 50 to 75 foot area, and that's what we're talking about today.
That's correct.
And I think that just the sheer number of conditions reflect the attempt at stewardship over this outer, the 50 to 75 foot impervious area. So, and I just wanted to get that on the record, and you know, it just, even for the applicant's perspective, I'm sure they were in the room when we just read off just a couple of conditions on the 2 previous, and these are substantially more. I just wanted it to be clear to all parties that there are reasons why it's a little bit more stringent, well, significantly more stringent. Okay.
Good for right now.
Any other questions? Nothing else? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. And for the record, can you state your name?
Sure. My name is Jean Keithley, and I live at 3388 Pretty Branch Drive. So nice to meet you. I'm your neighbor behind you. Our house is directly behind the lot that they are going to be building on. And right now, for many years, excuse me, we have looked at a beautifully wooded lot. And we are at the top of a hill, and as I think everybody's aware, it's a downward slope on the lot that they're building. And so from our perspective, it's really an advantage to us that they are building more forward, because we are very concerned about losing the trees on that lot. That is a beautifully wooded lot. But there's also concerns on 3388 Pretty Branch about building and the water tables and some of the construction that's already gone on 3388 that has caused some water issues, not for us at our house, but some of our neighbors with the water tables. And so I appreciate, Chief Acree, that you clarified, that they are really taking extra measures and steps to try to adhere to the creek. But I'm thinking that there must be a reason. I think you explained it, and I guess I'm just trying to look for reassurance, because there are concerns in the neighborhood with all the building that is going on, that if we go with what is proposed as far as the added stipulations, that and I know there's no assurances, but that really will help to preserve the water tables and the runoff, especially based on where their house is going to be and the way I guess the topography of our neighborhood. And so I just wanted to get it on the record that there is some concern about that, and that there is concern about how many trees are going to be taken down on that lot, because it's a beautiful, beautiful lot.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that, and I appreciate those comments, and and I said the things that I said for the record with regard to the stringent application when you talk about impeding or encroaching into this impervious area, and I wanted to draw the differences between the you absolutely cannot build anything area and the impervious area, and really we're talking about that impervious area, and these conditions are conditions that originate from the city of Smyrna. So these are things that we're imposing on any other applicant. And I think that it's also true, if we just want to talk out both sides of it, I think that they probably, as they've already stated, and as you've stated, they could probably, in this conceptual plan phase, move the house back, stay away from this impervious area, and not have to have a variance at all. But that would mean the significant reduction of some of the trees that we're trying to maintain, which I completely am appreciative of and agree with. And I think staff commented that plan, not only with the loss of additional trees that they're trying to save, would create even more ground disturbance, and they could do that without any type of variance whatsoever. So I appreciate the both you and the applicant in trying to be good stewards of what it is that makes up the city of Smyrna and working with us, but just also that we're going to be tough. And I think that these 7 conditions as read, if it were to be approved, would be applied strictly, and they would have to adhere to these, so that we could protect those things that you're concerned about.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to.
Okay, please step to the podium. And for the record, can you please state your name?
Irma Cheatham, 3400 Lee Street. This is more of a request and directed to the staff. I live on the creek, Pretty Branch. My request is, please limit the construction and size of buildings upstream. We know the more land that's paved, more rooftops we have, the faster the runoff. Now, I am grandfathered in, I suppose, for the variance on the stream. It's probably about 10 feet, maybe a little more, from the corner of my house. And with the more building, this concerns the area on Dunn Street and that area more than the ones that are being considered today. But it's just a request. Think about those living downstream, how fast that creek can rise. I have seen it when it ran over Lee Street, but that was due to the placement of the original sewer line and the debris that comes floating down. That is a powerful little stream. It can move large pieces of debris and can stop the culverts very easily. So just consider rooftops, concrete, and the fast runoff of water. It's just more of a request.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other comments? I'll let you go.
My name is Tom Donnelly, and I live on 3400 Pretty Branch, which is just a few houses down from where this new construction will be. And I just wanted to second what she's saying. I have a mother that lives right next to me, and I have seen the water actually come up and touch the corner of where she lives. So, it's a concern, and just as long as we, keep that in mind. I also will say that I was one of those great people that loved trees, and when I built on my lot, I saved every tree I possibly could. And I built on the back of my house and back there toward the creek. And since then, one of those trees that I saved, half of it broke off and toppled through the roof of my addition. Yep. So I've since then had a new way of thinking is that any tree over your house or leaning toward your house is not necessarily a good thing. So anyway, I will give that bit of advice and just wanted to second what she was saying.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Bob, you wanted to come back up to make some comments.
The one of the conditions in respect to the adjacent homeowners is condition number 2, that increased surface water runoff generated by this development shall be contained within the site to protect existing natural drainage patterns and adjoining and downstream parcels. It would be reviewed by city engineering prior to any building permit being issued.
Okay, all right. Good.
So if we could get the applicant back up just for a second, please.
Yes, sir.
Just, again, if really even more so for the sake of the record, but you've heard staff read these 7 conditions. Are you aware of these conditions?
Yes, sir.
And do you see any reason why there can't be full compliance with any of these conditions?
No, sir. Not on the surface. I mean, everything looks like we can do it. We'll have a plan drawn up by our erosion control guy and get it approved.
And also, just you understand that the reason for the stringency and the number of conditions is because of the encroachment into the impervious area.
Absolutely.
And how you've heard the concerns. I think the legitimate, realistic concerns of the neighbors, and I appreciate the effort that you guys have gone through to try to find the best fit, with all things involved. But we're going to be pretty tough on this, and it looks like you guys have a good plan. But we want to do everything that we can do to ensure that the concerns that were stated today are met.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you understand that you're going to have to retain the services of a civil engineer to comply with some of these requirements.
Yes, sir.
And one other thing, it appears on the site plan, your potential site plan, that your driveway is going to be on the northern end of the property.
Yeah, the left side. I'm not even sure what the northern end is, but the left side.
The upper.
Looking at it, the upper left side. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
And I guess there's a pipe crossing there.
There is.
I just want to make you aware that pipe belongs to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we figured that one out.
Okay.
Anything else?
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V15-049. Allow 21.7 foot encroachment into the 25 foot impervious surface buffer area setback at 3387 Lee Street, 0.48 acres, land lot 556, 3387 Lee Street, with the following conditions. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon a substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with a variance application dated 11/18/2015. City engineer shall approve final design of the water quality best management practices and measures prior to the issuance of a building permit. Surface water runoff generated by this development shall be contained within the site to protect existing natural drainage patterns and adjoining and downstream parcels. Water quality measures that mimic the function of the impervious buffer shall be designed, constructed, and maintained in accordance with the Georgia Blue Book for at least that portion of the proposed impervious area within the buffer. An erosion and sediment control plan is required for this project prior to any land disturbance activity. The site plan within the 25-foot impervious area stream buffer disturbed during construction activities shall be restored with appropriate native vegetation. And finally, all plans are subject to review and approval of the city engineer.
Second motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V15049. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is approval of the November the 11th, 2015 License and Variance Board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the November 11th, 2015 L&V Board minutes.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the November the 11th License and Variance Board meeting minutes. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:43 a.m. Thank you.